Hello, I'm now going to show you another lovely beautiful flower design. This design will be going down the one side of the nail example. So have fun practicing this along with me. I'll just get here what we need. We'll be using some yellow acrylic for this, white and some green. And we've got our liquid. Let me just put them close by so that I can work easily. That's it. Okay, what we'll do then is I've got the short brush here, the smallest one, but of course you can use whichever size you want. I actually recommend that you play around with your brushes so that you can really get used to deciding which ones you prefer to work with, or which ones you want to work with for different techniques. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to double dip into the yellow and the white. And first of all, we're going to pick up the lightest colour. So we can go into the white and into our yellow. I've got a small ball, which you can see, and we're just going to place it into the corner here. Like that, and once it's placed we can just press it down gently. What I did forget to say is that the base of this nail, it's just a gel polish with a top coat on without a sticky layer. So this is the base I've chosen. I thought that I would do a nice nude colour base today. Just pull out a slight little point. This is actually just the petals that we've already practiced earlier, the petal shape. So pull out a little point and stroke it gently into position. All I'm doing now is just waiting for it to become slightly matte so that we can press into it. Yes, so going back to the base, I used gel polish, but of course, if you're working with an acrylic, you could use a nude acrylic colour, or you could use a gel base. As long as you finish with a top coat, which doesn't have a sticky layer, you'll be fine. Okay, I'll just turn this around slightly so that we can just press into it very gently, just using the flat part of the brush. We'll just press really gently. Okay, and what I want to do now is to turn the brush to the edge, and then we're going to press a tiny little, I'm just going to press a tiny little line into the centre of the petal. If you want to, you can make it more pointy, the ends of your petals. You can, if necessary, if you need to, in the middle, you can just press down slightly. Oops, not too much to ruin the shape, we don't want that. That's the first petal done. So what we'll do is we're going to do 3 of these just going around the side. You notice I've double dipped, but I'm kind of trying to place more yellow on top than the white on top at the moment. You just push it into shape a little bit, and if you do have a bit of product on the top of your top coat, then you can just wipe it away, which is what I've just been doing. So now we pull out tiny little points, really gently. I'm not trying to press hard to reach the top coat, I'm just pressing very gently. Make another little point. Just move it around a bit. And we just wait. hold your brush at a 45-degree angle. As you can see, let's see, yeah, see at a 45-degree angle, and press gently. The acrylic is still workable, so you still do have time to play around with your petal and bring it into the shape that you want it, and in the centre we'll just make sure it's slightly flush to the nail. That's it. I think that we can just squeeze in another little petal down the side here. I think this ball I've just picked up is too large, so we just make it slightly smaller. That's it. Because there's not a lot of space down the side there, but we do our best just to squeeze in a little ball. That's it. As you can see in between, I'm making sure that my brush stays nice and clean. Just wiping it back and forth on the nail wipe. Let's see, this ball, we just create a little point. Let's have a look, coming down here. And just push it into the shape on the sides. I'm just using the flat end of the brush when I do that. So this 3D flower is actually, it will be a little bit more raised. Let's see if I can show you that from the side. It's still flat 3D, but it's slightly higher than a few of the other examples which we've been doing. If you don't want it so high, you can always press it more into shape. That's not a problem, you can press it flatter. Let's see, now we're going to create our little line. You see? And this is the first little flower. This is fine because at the end afterwards we're going to place a stone here, a little crystal. So now we're going to do another 2 petals. Try and make these ones slightly smaller than the other petals which we've just made. So let's see, we're going to put one ball here. You can see I've got the white on top here. You can play around with it. I think this ball is, I want space for another stone afterwards, so I'm just taking my brush and I'm just pushing it down slightly just to give myself a bit more space. So you can just push it down a little bit, because after I do want to place a stone here as well in between, so we need a little bit of space. So pull it into its point. So it's got a little squiggly end on which I'm just going to cut away, just like that. I don't want that end, it's in the way. That's it. Now it's becoming matte, and so we cut into it again. If you're working your acrylic and it's taking you a bit of a while to get it into the shape you want, or you're having to get used to the mixed ratio and you're a bit slow to create the line, you can always use your spatula. That's not a problem. You can apply more pressure with your spatula than with the brush. So let's do one more petal. Just press it down so it makes good contact with the top coat. That's it. I thought this was a nice colour combination with the yellow and the white, but obviously you can play around with 2 other colours that you like. You could always try pink and white flowers, red and white, purple, lilac, any colour what takes your fancy. You could even do this on a black background if you like. That would probably be nice, a black nail, and then something like white and lilac as the flowers. You get a completely different effect. Yeah. So let's just press into this. So we've got space there for another little stone, and I'm going to add another 2 petals at the bottom. I'll try and make these the smallest, which means you do need to wipe your brush quite a bit for this now to get really tiny little, let's say tiny little petals if possible. So a little point already. While this petal is hardening out, I'm going to pick up the next ball. I'm going to place it and just rest there. In the meantime, this one's become matte, so now I can just press into the top of it the shape that we want. That's it. Just clean up. And this ball, you can just create its point. I'm just trying to push my ball back slightly, it's just gone a bit squashed. So I'm just pushing in, let's say, just to create a better shape. Can you see what I'm doing? I hope so. Just try to create a better shape with this one. So, that's better. To the point. Now, let's go to this one, otherwise it will become too hard for us to work with. So we've got a point. Let's see. That's just what we want. Okay, we've got our petals. What I didn't mention is sometimes if you have areas what you're not happy with, say on this one it's ever so slightly low here, the acrylic a little bit, you can always just add a tiny little ball of acrylic if you need to. I'll just show you. I could actually press it into shape, but got the tiniest amount of white, it's so small. But, I mean, you can just, let's see, you can kind of paint with it, like I showed you in one of the training video, how to paint 2 colours of balls, you can just paint it on and just smooth it to where you need it to go. So you can never really make mistakes. You can always, if you're not happy with something, you can always remove it before it becomes too hard. Or you can add to it, or you can push it into the area where you want it to go. What I think would be nice for this is just to add a few little petals. The petals you can obviously make in any shape, which we've learned. I'm just going to do a simple kind of teardrop shape petal. I think it's nice to have one coming out here and one coming out here. So I'm going to double dip, but of course, you know, if you find that difficult, you always could just make a white petal and then paint it with the green afterwards if you want to. So. Let's do our first petal. A bit of white, and a bit of green. And we just place it here. Just press it onto your top coat. That's it. I sometimes like to mix the petals, sometimes, which I'll show you, I'll do it now, just to mix the colours together just a little bit. That's it. What we do now is press outwards. So we've got the smallest point near the beginning of the petal, and really gently I'm just going to press. I've got my brush again at a 45-degree angle. I just want my petal to go in that direction. Sometimes you press too hard, which is what I've just done, so I'm just going to have to scoop it back into shape. Look, just push it into shape. Here also I want it to come into a bit more of a point here, near the centre of the petal, the edge of the petal, sorry. I've just pressed it a bit more, so I'm just going to press my leaf again. Let's let it go upwards, that's it, let's see, yeah. Quite like that petal shape. It's just nice and simple. I was just thinking whether or not to add some lines to it, but I think for this design we'll just leave it like this. If you do want to add some veins to the petals, of course you can. Just grab your spatula and press a few lines in, like I've showed you on one of the other videos. Rest another one there. Oops. We do want to make sure that the petal, that it starts at the point right down there. Otherwise it looks like a bit of a loose petal if it's not attached to the flower. That's it. So that's okay. I think while that's hardening, I'll just make another one, another leaf. Just pick up another tiny ball. We can press that here for now, just place it there. And we'll just leave it. Now we can press this one out with the brush flat. And that's it. And this one, we'll just bring it a bit more into a circle again. Okay, this leaf is going to go a bit more to the edge here. So I've just push it over to the edge a bit more where we want it. That's it. Now, let's see, I can push it now. Now it's nice and matte. Okay, I want it to come a bit more into a point, so let me see, can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, slice into it slightly so it becomes more of a point here, and that's better. Okay. Add here the white on top. This petal I find a bit too green, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a tiny ball of white, just the tiniest little ball, just add a bit more white to it, so I'm just going to press it on the end. And we just smooth it in, just paint it in, so there's just a tiny bit more white to the leaf here. That's it, that I prefer. That's it. Now, and the last leaf. That's it, just press it. Bring it back into the point. Okay, now what we're going to do now is add a couple of stones. That would be nice. So you can apply stones with different products. You can use certain gels, you can use glue, you can use acryl gel, acrylic. There's lots of different things that you can apply stones with. I think for this one, just to see if I've got any at hand, because I didn't, just to see if I've got any clear acrylic. Just having a quick look in my drawer. Yeah, I've got some clear acrylic, so I'll show you that you can apply stones with a clear acrylic. That's possible. It looks white, but it is clear. You can actually just get the tiniest acrylic ball. This is like really tiny. You can just place it and just wait for it to settle a little bit. The other stones that I want to apply are extremely small. probably would be handier maybe with to do them with the gel, but I'm just going to try. I've got a tiny ball of acrylic there and another one here. The first ball which I picked up of acrylic was a bit too large because my stones are so small. But anyway, here we've got the first stone. I'm just going to rest it on top of the acrylic and push it in to make sure it's pushed in very well. And here's the next one. Let's see, where's the acrylic? There it is. And this one, let's see, we just push it into the acrylic. Let's see, just put my finger there. Just push it down quite a bit. And that's it. You've got another nice design. I hope you have fun practicing this. Of course, you can choose different colour stones. That doesn't really matter. It's just a case of have fun with the design. And yeah, enjoy. Thanks for watching.